I honestly wasn't too thrilled with this this lesson in general. It like compared to some of my others, it felt less planned out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just kind of fighting, well, not fighting through, but it felt like everything was very improv versus
Mm-hmm.
a lot of my lessons. I usually have them mapped out a general sense. This one just kind of got away from me. So gave me three. I was pretty happy with that, to be honest.
Well, you kind of hit it right on the mark where you fell short. It was planning instruction. I could definitely
Yeah,
sense that it was kind of not really well planned. There
yeah,
were several misconceptions that when you're sitting down and you're planning a lesson, you want to think of the misconceptions first, right? Or you want to think of like the backwards type of idea, like at the end of this lesson, what should they be able to do, or
mhm,
what is the final project, right?
yeah,
So there was a interesting point in the lesson where um, someone asked you about like black circles or crayons or something like that,
yeah,
and I was thinking like with of course with that age range, like coloring definitely would have been probably more sufficient.
hmm,
Already having the circles drawn for them or giving them paper with the circles already on there and having them type of to draw out, I feel like would have definitely maximized your time a lot better.
yep,
um, and then again, making sure that you address those misconceptions like the moon can only be seen at night is a misconception. I feel like I don't know if the kids said it or if you said it, but the fact that there are 8 moons when it's really 8 phases,
yeah,
you know, if the moon is growing, getting bigger, like there was a couple of things that they said, and it was just like, these are prime moments to kind of capture. And if you had planned, with these things in mind, how different would the lesson had been. So
extremely.
yeah, so you hit it right on the nose of where you fell short in this particular lesson. Um, but everything else was kind of definitely there, like the sequencing as far as what they did first, second, and third, all the way to the end.
Hmm.
Um, as far as like creating the learning experience, you truly allowed for the multiple learning styles and techniques to be like done in this lesson. And I was
Hmm.
very excited about that. The fact that you had everyone doing a hands-on project at the end. So they knew where they were getting to. That was exciting. Um, okay, so my favorite, and where I was like, I am super proud of him, was the evidence-based instructional strategy.
Well, thank
Um,
you.
yes, because though I'm looking at it now, so you had the students spell the phases of the moon,
Hmm.
demonstrating students grappling with the oral language, right? And
Yeah.
with English language learners, a lot of times they're able to maybe read and be able to comprehend, but it's really getting them to speak and for them to write. So I thought it was brilliant to have them spell out the words. And I was super excited that they got to write the words this time.
Yeah,
Um,
I thought you'd like that.
yes. So that was an evidence-based strategy on the head. Great job. And I also loved how you use technology to randomly choose the kids.
Hmm.
A lot of so what I like about a lot of classroom management technology tools is that they have random pickers, and a lot of people don't realize that. They don't take the time to really kind of play around with the system. They know it gives points. They know they could probably take away points. They know that you can write comments and maybe like a comment section, something like that. um,
Exactly.
some of the tools you can dialogue with other teachers, like in a chat box type of situation, or if parents have access to the tools, then you can able to communicate with them through there.
Hmm.
But a lot of times people don't realize that there's a random chooser, where if you just hit it on random, it will select the student that you need to call on or the student that you need to reward and things of that nature. So I thought that was a brilliant um, job of doing that. You also use pictures to kind of show the kids what you were talking about and what they should be kind of moving towards.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you had an effective use of the timer. Like, you were spot on here. You used everything that that hit evidence-based strategies as far as the grade level, as well as the like they said, English language learners. So I was very proud of you.
Sweet. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was really trying for that one. That was my biggest goal in this entire lesson. Um,
Mhm.
and that's where everything else kind of fell short because I saw that one single standard, and it kind of went from there.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with the snares. Um, I think I thought they had a clearer grasp of this than they did. A lot of my kids were able to do this very easily, and you, by the way, you're 100% right. What you can't see in my video is those damn circles. It took us about 10 minutes to draw 8 circles. I didn't think of that would be an issue. But yeah, they
Mhm.
took forever to draw those stupid circles. And I had to give out extra papers. It was just one of those silly things I didn't consider. But most of my kids, they knew this. But at the very end, I realized two of them, like Amelia and Eric, they just had no comprehension of it. So instead of addressing that individually, because we just didn't have time and it was the end of the unit, so I couldn't get through it with them. Instead
Mhm.
of that, I decided at the very end to do that extra reflection and go through the entire thing one more time to try and help them out. And then I
Mhm.
kind of talked to them afterwards. They seemed to get a better grasp, but it's not what I needed to do.
Right.
So yeah,
Right.
the entire thing,
Yeah.
and then yeah, the additional stuff. It's like, okay, well, I planned for the crayons a little bit better. I could have done a lot of extra little things. So I was really not too happy with this one. But yeah. The evidence based instruction was cool for that one.
Yeah. So because I teach the moon phases, right? I teach earth science.
Yeah.
And even with middle school kids, it is a difficult concept to grasp, especially when they have all of these huge misconceptions. You know, the fact that it's us moving around the moon, and it's
Yeah.
the moon is growing or it's shrinking, that type of thing.
Mhm.
Um, One thing that helps them, and I feel like may help your students maybe the next time around, is sticking to the basics. Flashcards,
Mhm.
giving them, you know what I mean, giving them the cards and not putting them in order, but having them put the cards in order without the names. Or
Ah.
you could do it with the names, just to see how they think the order of the phases go. And again, it will cut down on, those tasks, those small little tasks that you may think may take 2 seconds,
Yeah.
but really take like a whole hour to make, so just that's it. But everything else, like you were definitely spot on. I can see your growth. Can you see your growth?
Definitely, yeah. No, my instruction in general is a little bit more varied. Instead of just being a single note throughout the entire lesson, I'm doing multiple things. On top of that,
Mhm.
I've learned how to better communicate with my students.
Okay, good,
So yeah,
good.
I can definitely feel that one.
Okay, good, good. Well, it's showing. You're definitely not the same Roy you were a couple of weeks ago.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I didn't really have a whole lot more to say on this lesson. I wasn't too happy with it, but like I made that clear. But other than that, I really didn't have a lot to say.